This video will demonstrate how to use the Vernier Go Direct colorimeter in order to determine absorbance readings for a series of solutions. The items we will need are the Vernier Go Direct colorimeter, its corresponding cable to connect. We will also need the Vernier LabQuest 3 and its corresponding power cable, which I already have connected to the power source. We will also need our solutions, a plastic cuvette, some deionized water, a paper towel, and something to write on and write with in order to collect our data. So I already have the LabQuest 3 plugged in and powered on. If you have not, you plug it in, the power source goes at the top, and you push this button one time to turn on the power. Next, I'm going to connect the colorimeter. The smaller end of the cable goes to the back of the instrument, and through a USB connection, it goes to the LabQuest 3. From a previous part of the lab, I already determined that from these preset wavelengths, the one which led to the maximum absorbance of my solution had been at 470. So I'm going to use the arrow key to indicate that I want to take my readings at a wavelength of 470 nanometers. Again, depending on your solution, you might have a different value, but for myself, you can refer to the previous video. That value had been 470 nanometers. So next we will have to calibrate the instrument. We will do that by filling our cuvette about 3/4 of the way full with deionized water. I'm going to gently tap this on the bench top to be sure I don't have any air bubbles inside the cuvette. And next, I'm going to slide open the chamber on the colorimeter by pushing this top part gently to the right. And I'm going to insert the cuvette such that the clear side will be in line with the light source and the detector. Place it inside, slide it closed, and I'm going to push the CAL button to calibrate. During this time, you'll notice a red light will blink on the colorimeter, and you should see the absorbance value go to a value of 0 on the LabQuest 3. Once it has finished, which is when the light has stopped blinking, I'm going to remove the cuvette. Now, to have the most accurate results, it is best to stick with the same cuvette for all of the measurements. So I'm going to dispose of this water. And next, I'm going to use a paper towel to remove any residual water droplets from inside the cuvette. I'll take the paper towel and twist the end of it so that it can fit down inside the cuvette. And I'll note here that I'm going to move quickly so the video is not too long, but please take your time to ensure that the cuvette is in fact completely dry. Next, the way that my solutions are labeled, the most concentrated is labeled as 1, and moving from 2 to 3 to 4, the concentration decreases. It will be best for us to start our measurements from the least concentrated solution. So for myself, I have that labeled as solution number 4. Although you may have a different number of solutions or you may have them labeled differently, as long as you start with the most dilute solution. So I'm going to pour to fill this about 3/4 of the way full. We'll look for air bubbles and gently tap. Next, I will place it inside the colorimeter. I'll confirm the wavelength is set to 470 nanometers. I slid the lid of the colorimeter closed, and I will wait for the absorbance to stabilize. It has at a value of, I'll call that a value of 0.11. So this had been my solution number 4. Its absorbance reading was 0.11. Again, you are likely to have different values. Just whatever value is on your display, that is what you write down for your corresponding solution. This had been my solution number 4. So next, I'm going to work my way towards from going to the most dilute to the most concentrated. I'm going to dispose of this solution. Ask your lab instructor for how they want you to properly dispose of the solutions in this lab. And I'm just going to rinse one time Again, so the video will not be too long, but I would recommend to rinse at least 3 times with deionized water. Once you are done rinsing the cuvette, again, take your time to ensure that it's adequately dried. Again, I'm moving quickly here, but please take time to ensure all the water droplets have been dried, and then you can move on to your next solution. Filling the cuvette about 3/4 of the way full. Placing it into the colorimeter, sliding it closed, and waiting for the absorbance to stabilize. It has stabilized at a value of 0.21. I will write that down. And now, as before, I will dispose of this solution. Rinse with deionized water. I'm going to rinse once, but I would recommend you to rinse at least 3 times. And dry. I'm drying quickly, but you should take the time to dry such that there are no remaining water droplets inside the cuvette. My next solution is solution 2. I will fill the cuvette about 3/4 of the way full. Place it in, be sure there's no air bubbles, and again, always being sure to place such that the clear side is in line with the light source and detector. Slide it closed. If you notice the screen has gone dark on the LabQuest 3, it's a touch screen. Simply touching the screen, it'll light up again. The absorbance value seems to have stabilized at a value of 0.42. I will move on to my final solution now. I'm just going to rinse once. Again, you should rinse 3 times. Dry. Again, be sure to dry such that you no longer see any water droplets. And now my solution 1. Okay, my absorbance reading of that has a value of 0.84. So continue this process. Again, you might have a 5th solution. Continue this process until you have recorded absorbance readings for all the solutions that you have. And once you are done, be sure to dispose of all liquids as directed by your instructor, and power down the LabQuest 3, disconnect all cables, and that is it.